In this video, I'm giving you the no-fluff beginner's guide to campervans, the different types, the pros and cons of van life, and the stuff no one tells you before you buy it. So what actually is a campervan? In simple terms, it's a van you can live in, a home on wheels. You've got your own private space and the freedom to take it anywhere. The first campervan appeared in 1947 and they've come a long way since. What started as a practical solution has become a dream for many. One of the best things about campervans and why the van life community is so amazing is the versatility they offer. You might want a way to escape for day trips to the countryside, maybe you're after a cost-effective way to enjoy weekend getaways, or maybe you're thinking about full-time van life. The beauty is, there's no right way to do it. You can use your van in the way that fits your lifestyle and brings you the most joy. That's why you meet such a wide variety of people in the van life world. Retirees, digital nomads, young couples, solo travellers, all using their vans differently. Now there are many types of campervans and we won't go too deep on that in this video, but essentially I like to break it down into three main types. Micro campers, traditional campervans, and then there are the large van conversions. I'm sure there are many people that would disagree with me here, but I would class a micro camper as anything that you can sleep and cook in up to VW Caddy, Ford Custom, or maybe a Nissan MV200. They are quite literally car sized and usually ideal for 1 to 2 person getaways for a couple of days. I've seen some incredibly small vans converted, but they generally start around Citroen Berlingo size to be able to get a bed in the back. The traditional campervan is the one we see most often, based on the VW Transporter or Ford Transit custom sized vehicle. This is what most people will think of when I say campervan, and for very good reason. When we think back to the good old years of the 50s and the 60s, the very first split screen VW campers were being converted. And the fact you still see them around is a testament to the level of enjoyment that this size of van can bring. This size of van can be used anywhere between 1 and 4 people and is perfect for everything from getting changed in the back of when you hit the mountain bike trails to heading for a 3-month trip around Europe or the US. Large van conversions have always been around but have seen a huge jump in popularity over the past few years. They are generally based on Mercedes Sprinter, VW Crafter and Fiat Ducato sized vehicles, and the extra width and length opens up a whole new set of possibilities, not only with layout but how you can use your van. You can have a large rear garage and still have plenty of space, or even 2 lounge areas if you don't want to spend every night sat with the kids. Obviously, there are downsides when it comes to drivability of these vans. However, as I always say, when it comes to campervans, everything is a compromise. As the owner of Drive Lodge, I'd be daft not to mention it here. We're a family-run business specialising in safe, reliable and ergonomic roofs. For more information, click the link in the description. Is van life for everyone? As much as I'd love to say yes, probably not. Let's be real about the pros and cons. Well, the obvious pro is the freedom for exploration that having a campervan gives you, and that is generally what draws people to van life. Other pros are the cost benefits. Once you've bought your van, the cost of having trips away is much less than a traditional hotel trip. There's also the convenience that having all your belongings with you all the time brings. It's a home from home, and you know where everything is. When you want to retreat from the world, no one can bother you. One of the other huge pros that is often overlooked is what it can do for your mental health. In today's world of constant distractions, getting away from the world can be the difference between living a happy and full life or feeling like the world is working against you. There are obviously some cons to van life, even for me, and I love it. The first one, and probably the biggest reason people are put off, is the initial purchase cost. We all know that campervans aren't cheap, and unless you're handy enough to do it all yourself, then you're likely to have to save up a good chunk of money to buy something you don't know how much you'll use until you've paid for it. There are also the running costs. Although these often aren't as bad as people think, running a van really isn't that much more than running a car. Also, for some people who like space, a campervan can feel claustrophobic, especially if you end up spending a lot of time in your van on days when the weather maybe isn't the best. That brings me on to another con. Camping is weather dependent. I'm sure there are people out there that will jump to call me a fair weather camper, but the reality is that it just isn't as fun when you can't sit outside in the sun. For me, campervans are a way to get out in nature, and somewhere I don't want to be when it's pouring with rain is out in nature. That said, however, the positives far outweigh the negatives for me. Campervans are like pizza and beer. Even when it's bad, it's good. You've decided you want a camper. Maybe you've even figured out which size of van is best for you. Now it's time to start thinking about using the van. Parking, facilities and safety are all things we need to consider here. Once again, this comes down to how you'll use your van. If you're planning to always use campsites, then this solves all of the potential issues. They have dedicated parking for you, they generally have very good facilities, and the fact you're surrounded by other campers means the chances of anything happening to you is minimal. However, if you're someone who likes to go a bit more off-grid, then you need to think about where you'll park, what facilities you'll need, and also your own safety. The general rule of thumb when camping off-grid is to stay as discreet as you can. This will stop unnecessary attention being drawn to yourself and will allow you to park pretty much anywhere. Although it's always worth trying to stay off the beaten track, and if possible, use apps like Park for Night or Britstops to utilise the wealth of experience that other campers have already discovered. When it comes to buying your first campervan, you need to accept that you'll more than likely get it wrong. No matter how much planning you do, there will be something you will have forgotten. Or it may be that you don't use your van in exactly the way you thought you would. It's always a good idea to buy your first van as one that you'll be able to sell on easily in a year or two when you know exactly what you want. So stay away from the bright pink van with a unique layout until at least your second van. If you're wondering what kind of layout actually works day to day or what gear's worth the money, we're getting into all that next.